Thank you very much, Tricia. Next on Action News at 6, dramatic home video taken seconds before the death of a Newport Beach mother. She was run down by an alleged drunk driver.
Also ahead, do you know who this woman is? She is running for president, and she could have a major influence on who wins the White House. We'll explain.
Plus, a personal look at a program designed to help disadvantaged black children break the cycle of poverty.
In sports, Keith Overman on the do-or-die challenge for the Dodgers.
And Kevin on what the word colorful really means. All coming up next.
There are a lot of propositions on the November ballot. How do we sort them out? Well, for one thing, Prop P means police. Up to $120 million for new police, paid for with earmarked royalties from the Palisades Inland Energy Project. That's new police without new taxes. Prop P means new police to fight drugs, new police to crack down on gangs, new police when our city desperately needs them. Vote yes on new police. Yes on Prop P.
Prop 103 lets government in the auto insurance business, but it's already been tried. New Jersey's state control system has a $2.7 billion deficit. The governor called state control a disaster. The highest car insurance costs in the nation. Facing fiscal collapse, all drivers must pay a surcharge to keep the system going. Don't let New Jersey happen to you. Vote no on Prop 103. Keep big government out of the auto insurance business.
As Governor Michael Dukakis vetoed mandatory sentences for drug dealers, he vetoed the death penalty. His revolving door prison policy gave weekend furloughs to first-degree murderers not eligible for parole. While out, many committed other crimes like kidnapping and rape, and many are still at large. Now Michael Dukakis says he wants to do for America what he's done for Massachusetts. America can't afford that risk.
The last great Cadillac dealer. Service, courtesy, respect. Rennick Cadillac, Fullerton, 91 Freeway, north on Euclid.
October is AIDS Awareness Month in LA County, and these healthcare providers have just one comment.
AIDS, let's face it, LA.
The stories behind tomorrow's headlines, weeknights at 7 on Channel 2. And now, from KCBS Television in Los Angeles, Southern California's most honored news broadcast. This is Channel 2 Action News at 6.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Valerie Coleman.
I'm Chris Canangla. Here's what's happening at the top of our news tonight. A teenager allegedly drunk and behind the wheel, standing trial for deliberately running down and killing a young Newport Beach mother. When we first broke this story, September 1st, there were reports that a passenger in the car had videotaped the alleged murder. Today, prosecutors showed that tape in court. Orange County correspondent Dave Lopez has the story. And we warn you that what you're about to see is very disturbing, and viewer discretion is advised.
19-year-old Danny Ornelas is charged with murder. His victim, 35-year-old Debbie Killalay, mother of 3 young children. The murder weapon, the car Ornelas was driving. Police say driving at speeds of 59 miles an hour down this alley on the Balboa Peninsula at 5 p.m. last September 1st. Prosecutor Rick King claims Ornelas, although legally drunk at the time, purposely ran over Mrs. Killalay. Today in court at the preliminary hearing, King played a videotape to illustrate his point. The tape shows Mrs. Killalay in the alley with her 2 children. This is a warning. The tape is graphic and gruesome. '18-year-old Anthony Lozano, who is not being charged in this case, testified earlier in the day that he was in the passenger side next to Ornelas the day of the incident. He said that he had a movie camera up to his eye and that the camera was rolling as Ornelas barreled down the alley.
It's an incredible piece of evidence. It's a horrifying thing to listen to. It was on for moments up before the collision, and I think it speaks for itself.
Friends and family members of Debbie Killalay wept in the courtroom as the tape was played. Some watched the tape, others looked away. The attorney for Ornelas had no comment about the videotape. Prosecutor King says he will call a few more witnesses tomorrow, and then it's up to Judge Francis Munoz to decide if there is enough evidence for Ornelas to stand trial for murder. From Newport Beach, Dave Lopez, Channel 2, Action News.
There was another bombshell dropped today in the McMartin preschool molestation trial. Nearly 1/3 of the charges were dropped. 27 counts against defendants Raymond Buckey and his mother Peggy McMartin Buckey were dismissed. The prosecution said that it just didn't have enough evidence to support the charges. More charges are expected to be cut, leaving 65 of the original 100 counts. The defense attorney said that the judge dropped the most bizarre counts and labeled today's move a face-saving device. This afternoon, the judge and the attorneys toured the abandoned preschool in Manhattan Beach. Tomorrow, the judge will determine whether it is necessary for the jury to visit the site also. Investigators say last night's fire at the downtown Los Angeles library was not the work of an arsonist. It was the result of a problem with a welder's torch. That fire broke out in the basement where construction workers were renovating the building. This is the third fire to hit the Central Library. The other two fires, one in April of '86, the other in September of the same year, were both set on purpose. The arsonists were never found. Library workers now are frustrated.
You get to the point where you feel that it's not even real at times, you know, that you get a call that's saying that the Central Library is on fire again.
Library officials say yesterday's fire fortunately did very little structural damage, but smoke did get into the rotunda, which is the home to some valuable murals. An actual damage estimate has not yet been released. Chris?
A multi-million-dollar perfume counterfeiting ring has been broken up. A 2-year investigation led to a firm in India where police say phony fragrances were being bottled. Officers also raided a plant in Fontana. It's believed to be the source of counterfeit labels and boxes. Other evidence was confiscated in Milpitas near Palo Alto. Connections in the Orient are also suspected. The bogus perfume was sold by unauthorized retailers and at flea markets. The operation is believed to have netted $20 million. Police found logos and boxes for such perfumes as Giorgio and Christian Dior. The story next, of good intentions turned sour, of a good deed turned into a headache. Ruth Ashton Taylor reports.
36 women and 27 children live in this halfway house. The environment appears to be peaceful. There's even a small store for the convenience of the residents, who have had problems with drugs and alcohol. And now they have another problem. They were almost evicted today. The city of Compton issued no permit for a halfway house, and officials would serve a notice to cease and desist if they could decide who to give it to. Meanwhile, the owner, who didn't know people were living here, wants the building back, but can't face throwing out the tenants.
I can't put the people on the street. I'm trying to get things cleaned up here, you know, to be ready to move out as fast as we can.
Gloria Nabrett is president of the Kedron Mental Health Center in Compton, which owns the building that was left vacant last May when money ran short.
We definitely did not want people to live in the building.
In the center of the puzzle is the Reverend A.C. Callahan, who borrowed the building to use as an office for 90 days. He had just meant to plan a halfway house.
We didn't know the program was going to happen that fast. We had planned it.
But the program did happen before anyone knew, and now 63 people reside in this building illegally. The city and owner say they will help find homes for the residents, and Compton Housing Director Ambrose Stevens says the rest of this problem that they learned about today hopefully will be solved tomorrow. Ruth Ashton Taylor, Channel 2 Action News.
You could say that they are shooting for all the marbles as tonight's game between the Dodgers and the Mets is do or die for both teams. The ticket brokers were doing brisk business today with people shelling out their hard-earned cash so they could be there for the new one-game series.
I paid $55 per ticket, and I was willing to pay up to $150.
I'm maxed out. Some are $125, and some of them are $60.
Now, our Steve Rambo decided to conduct his own unscientific, unofficial survey to see who fans thought would win the big game. And as for the real results, well, we'll just have to wait and see.
Still ahead tonight, workers at UCLA put on the finishing touches for tomorrow's final presidential debate, and we'll take a look.
And also ahead, we'll tell you why this woman could cost one of the two major presidential candidates the election.
Channel 2 Action News is sponsored in part by Delta Dental. Established in 1955, Delta Dental is California's oldest and largest group dental plan.
Anyway, I was there for, what, 5 years? Mm-hmm. I hate to raid these guys, but I bet I could get Jensen and Chimino over here.
What do you think it would take?
We can beat their salaries, but we can't match their benefits. They had a great dental plan. Well, that's what I miss.
You miss your dental plan?
Oh, yeah. They saved us serious money. The outfit we got it from, they offered a whole range of plans.
Tell you what, you work on Jensen and Chimino, or I'll see about getting their dental plan.
If you want to talk personal service, talk to Wells Fargo Bank, the California bank with proven 24-hour person-to-person checking, 7 days a week. You'll talk to a real person, not a computer, and not an amateur, but a Wells Fargo Express agent authorized to handle over 100 different banking transactions while you're on the line. Switch your account now to Wells Fargo's 24-hour person-to-person checking. You've got to hear it to believe it.
Yeah, cattle around us just aren't what they used to be. These days, you gotta pamper beef.
Black Angus is now serving prime rib at its best.
Now we got this fancy high-class beef.
Slowly roasted and served traditional or mushroom smothered.
You gotta wait on hand and hoof.
Our prime rib dinner, just $8.95 at Black Angus.
Okay, who had the tossed alfalfa?
Selamat datang.
Selamat datang.
Selamat datang.
Selamat datang.
Selamat datang. Selamat datang.
It's our way of saying welcome in Malaysia.
Well, this time tomorrow night, the eyes of the nation will be on Pauley Pavilion at UCLA. George Bush and Michael Dukakis will square off for the final round of the 1988 presidential debates. Now, the technicians will work almost up to the very last minute, converting the pavilion into a giant television studio. In just 1 week, they've already accomplished a massive amount of work. This temporary studio will seat an audience of 1,500 people, divided more or less equally between partisans for each side. To get ready in time, the technicians have run thousands of feet of cable, built a stage for the candidates and their questioners, and set up 7 camera platforms. And of course, the television networks each have a broadcast booth. Here at Channel 2, we will bring you the debate live at 6 p.m.
So the two major candidates are in town. Well, so is a third presidential hopeful who might have a bigger impact on the outcome of November's election than one of the other contenders would like. And here is political editor Warren Olney with the story.
Chris, her name is Lenora Fulani. She represents the New Alliance Party, which she calls a progressive organization. She qualified to be on all 50 state ballots. She'll be on your ballot when you go to the polls. And she also qualified for federal matching campaign funds. No mean feat. But the two major parties have refused her request to be part of the presidential debates, and a federal judge has upheld them. Still, she could make a difference.
So this election is a fraud. It's a profound fraud.
She is attacked from the left and attacked from the right, accused both of communism and of getting support from the right-wing extremist Lyndon LaRouche. The 38-year-old New York psychologist makes no bones about her association with Louis Farrakhan, the black Muslim minister who has made anti-Semitic statements. But Lenora Fulani herself is a full-fledged candidate for president, qualified on the ballots of all 50 states. She knows she can't win, and her message now is stop Dukakis. Dump the Duke.
A vote for Dukakis next month is a wasted vote. A vote for Fulani on November 8th is a way to use our votes. It forces the Democrats to deal with the black agenda.
Since the nominating convention, Fulani claims Dukakis has shoved Jesse Jackson aside. She believes Dukakis expects black votes without committing himself to what she calls the real black agenda. Even during the convention, Fulani said that makes both parties equally bad.
I think the Democratic and Republican Party stink. I think that they're totally opposites to what the people of this country want.
And the same ideas had a lot of appeal today at Compton Community College.
Rise up and let's teach these folks a lesson.
I'd say it's a ridiculous argument.
Ron Brown is a top Dukakis advisor who used to work for Jesse Jackson.
What it would perpetuate would be the Reagan-Bush years, which are years which have been totally unsatisfactory to the constituents that she claims to speak for.
But Fulani's appeal is undeniable, and there is some uncomfortable arithmetic for the Democrats to confront. Los Angeles Mayor Tom Bradley lost the governorship to George Deukmejian in 1982 by a tiny margin. It is widely believed that Bradley would have won if he turned out more of his own black supporters. Dukakis needs black votes to win, and in California, the race may be so close, Fulani could get enough of them to deny him. Today, as Dukakis prepared for tomorrow's debate, his staff conceded Fulani could make a difference.
I think all the voters in the state are unusually up for grabs, and I think that some of the small candidates, some of the small minor party candidates are unlikely to tilt the balance, but you never know. People shouldn't throw away their votes.
Governor, what do you think of Lenora Fulani? Yeah, what do you think of her campaign or candidacy? Obviously, the Democrats would rather shrug off Lenora Fulani, but if the election is close enough, she could cause them headaches, not just in California, but in New York and Illinois and some other states as well. There are no polls that show what her support might be here or in most of those places. She herself did commission a survey in New York City that shows Jackson supporters favoring her over Michael Dukakis.
And there's still a lot of residual resentment over the way Jesse Jackson was handled by Dukakis during the primary.
That appears to be the case, and there has not been a corresponding increase in Dukakis support among the black voters, so, you know, they really seem to be up for grabs.
What about the argument that some would say by her candidacy, then she's giving a vote to the Republicans?
Well, that is exactly what the Dukakis people are saying. That's what Ron Brown says, and Jesse Jackson says, and other supporters as well. Her claim is that what she wants to do is do away with the two-party system. And so she's really arguing with the whole structure of the political system in the United States. She doesn't deny that for a minute, but she says the Democrats aren't any better, so you might as well show your power, and perhaps by virtue of doing that, gain enough clout to get some real considerations for the issues that she says she's concerned about.
Interesting to watch. Thank you, Warren, very much. Coming up next, Kevin is going to be joining us for our midweek look at the weather, and he'll also take us on a tour back east where the leaves are painting a pretty colorful canvas of fall.
Fact. The Home Club has demonstrated over and over again that its prices are lower than the competition. Question. How then do several home improvement centers claim to guarantee the lowest prices? Answer. What the competition really guarantees is to reduce their prices after you find lower prices at the Home Club. So why not go to the Home Club in the first place? At the Home Club, you save on everything, every day.
How's married life? Great.
Chicken nachos, buffalo wings.
Thank you. So, Jill let you out tonight? Hey, I can go out anytime she lets me.
Chicken Frisco salad.
Right here.
Baby back ribs.
Thank you. So, how's Jill's cooking?
And beef fajitas for two.
For me, right there. So, how was your first meal? First meal, guys, this is my first meal.
No place else is Chili's. No place else.
Black. The store is Stroud's. The best money can buy for a lot less money.
You can't get the whole picture unless you come here. Thoroughbred Racing from Oak Tree at Santa Anita. Look for money-saving coupons in Friday's paper.
When I heard Vons was taking over Safeway, I got a little nervous, a little shaky. But Bill DeVilla said we were some of the best meat cutters in the business, and he didn't want to lose us. Smart guy. Now I'm cutting a higher grade of beef, USDA choice. Doesn't get much better than that. You know, a little change every so often keeps you young.
Try a higher grade of beef at your new Vons and say hello to some old friends.
Nobody else but Vons.
3 people are dead tonight after the crash of a small private plane near Santa Maria, about 120 miles northwest of Los Angeles. The single-engine Piper Cherokee was making an instrument approach to Santa Maria Airport when it smashed into Solomon Peak, 3 miles south of the airport. As you can see, the terrain in this area is very steep and laced with canyons. At this point, the Santa Maria coroner has not released the names of the victims. Until the next of kin are notified, the Federal Aviation Administration will not say where the plane departed from or its planned final destination. The FAA does say there was no indication of any emergency before the plane crashed. The plane crashed just after 10 this morning.
It's time now for weather with Kevin, and he's been promising us some pretty colorful sights, so let's get right to it and
Guaranteed
see what's there.
free home delivery for you tonight, Valerie and Chris. You know, we are not totally void of color here in Southern California, and our weather over the next couple of days will probably make the Angeles National Forest look real nice. But it's pretty tough to beat Vermont about this time of year. Now, I want you to take a look at a beautiful, beautiful picture. The sugar maples looking their best. And coming up, you are going to see a very interesting picture. Now, let's see how good you people are at home. And, of course, our panel of experts, Valerie and Chris here in the studio, will easily be able. Now, you are looking at a place called the Waybury Inn. This is 178 years old. What TV show is this the place setting for?
Oh,
That's good, Chris.
Right.
Valerie?
It looked like the Waltons, and then I realized they didn't have that sophisticated a house.
It's the Bob Newhart Show.
Oh,
that's the one I was thinking of.
Oh,
Yes.
easy for you to say.
Get this guy
The button-down
a room.
mind of Bob.
The nicest part of Vermont, of course, is that the season only lasts about 4 weeks, but it sure is a litany of color. All right, enough of our weather trivia. Let's check out the facts and figures today in L.A., and we're going to get Chris a book to sit on. High reading today, 76. We had a low of 64 degrees. At our Civic Center right now, we're at 72, west winds at 9 miles an hour. Tomorrow, we're going to see a little bit of a cooling trend in the inland valleys. Highs of only high 70s, near 70 at the beach after you burn off the fog and low clouds in the morning. Low desert will see 92, high desert 82, and 72 degrees in the mountains. Here's one reason that they had a little bit of snow around the Great Lakes. The waters are still warm, but you start throwing 20-degree temperatures around there, and obviously you have what they call lake effect snow, and that pocket of 20s will pretty much engulf the entire Great Lakes region tonight, so we're calling for some scattered flurries as well. Still going to be very warm here in the southwest. Currently, we have some scattered snow mixed with rain happening around Buffalo, New York, moving down through the Cleveland, Ohio area. All of that precipitation following this frontal line is rapidly moving off the coast right now, and you can see a smattering of showers a little bit around the Great Salt Lake and in southern Nevada as well. But this approaching front here is going to be the first major storm that we're going to have to deal with. Storm 1, number 2, and this is a huge pool of cool air. Lake Tahoe at about 8,000 feet just might pick up some light scattering of snow, and obviously the states of Oregon and Washington will be picking up the bulk of the rain. Here's the way I see it for the next couple of days. We're going to have the morning clouds and haze, all right? We're going to have the raindrops, obviously, in the northwest mixed with a little bit of snow. Rain should be about as far south as San Francisco. Temperatures will be warming for the weekend. Here's what our forecast looks like later on tonight as we take a look a little bit more of that beautiful, beautiful landscape up there in Vermont. By the way, this is East Midbury, in case you are from the area. 62 the overnight low tonight. Your 5 days of weather will see clouds in the morning for the next 3 and haze, warmer for the weekend. And if you're looking for something to do, your friends here at Channel 2 remind you that the Community Fest 88 is underway Friday through Sunday at St. Cyprian Church in Long Beach. Games, food, rides, fun for everybody. They invite you to bring the family and bring your appetite. They got some pretty good food down there as well. Nice going. I mean, I don't want him as a partner in Trivial Pursuit ever. See you tomorrow.
Just a little slow.
There you go.
All right, next up here on Action News, Keith Olbermann has the day in sports. And as the Dodgers face a do-or-die ball game, the Raiders get Bo Jackson out of a baseball uniform and suited up for football.
Yeah, cattle roundups just aren't what they used to be. These days, you gotta pamper beef.
Black Angus is now serving prime rib at its best.
Now we got this fancy high-class beef.
Slowly roasted and served traditional or mushroom smothered.
You gotta wait on hand and hoof.
Our prime rib dinner, just $8.95 at Black Angus.
Okay, who had the tossed alfalfa?
You don't work for a company, you are the company. You take the risks, you get the rewards. That's why there's the corporate card with unique benefits for small business. Quarterly management reports, disability coverage, savings on hotels and air travel. Call 1-800-SUCCESS. or take one. It's a business card that does things a little differently, a little better, like you. The corporate card from American Express to your success.
Forget it, Mark. This bedroom bores me.
But Cleo, I've searched the empire for treasures to please you.
I want luxury.
Quick, get me to 3D for bedding, towels, gifts fit for a queen and so affordable.
3D bed and bath. Well, this house is finally starting to look like Rome.
It's 3D's anniversary. Qualifil chintz comforters start at $39.99.
Everything imaginable is affordable in 3D.
Only 2 imports have enough room to be classified as large cars by the EPA. There's this one, the Rolls-Royce Silver Spur Limousine, and this one, the Saab 9000. The people who buy this car pay others to drive for them. The people who buy Saabs never let anyone else drive.
Buy or lease one of the most intelligent cars ever built at your local Saab dealers today.
Oh my, you can start, well, don't uncork it yet, but you can start chilling that champagne. It seems we may have a World Series right here in Los Angeles.
Oh my! 1974 Oakland A's versus the Los Angeles Dodgers. A bases loaded, none out error by rookie Met third baseman Greg Jeffries has uncorked the Dodger genie from the bottle. 5 runs thus far in the second. Ron Darling out. Dwight Gooden of the Mets in relief for the first time in his pro career. Dodgers leading 6, count them 6-0. Still bottom of the second. Orel Hershiser, though, may have injured his leg running the bases. He, though, is still in the game. One guy besides the Mets who won't be playing in the World Series is Bo Jackson. Bo, who moonlights from March to September as an outfielder with the Kansas City Royals, reported to camp with the Raiders today. And the big question is, how soon can you be ready, Bo?
I'm ready to play now. Just like I told you, I know the plays. And if we were playing tomorrow, I think I'd be ready.
They're not playing tomorrow. Bo's arrival couldn't have come at a better time for the Raiders, who are in dire straits. As Tony Hernandez reports, the injury bug has bitten the silver, black, and blue.
Instead of X's and O's on the chalkboard at Raiders camp are X-rays and O-no's. 11 Raiders were listed as injured today, and 3 of them, Todd Christensen, Howie Long, and Stacy Toran, will not be available to play against Kansas City this Sunday.
When you take a look at that list, you're not really sure who's going to be available once you get started for Kansas City. But at the same time, that's one of the drawbacks about the game is sometimes you do have injuries, and at the same time you got to keep on going.
Marcus Allen is listed as questionable after breaking the navicular bone in his left wrist and cutting his left hand on a face mask 2 weeks ago. He intends to play against the Chiefs, but his dilemma is obvious.
It's difficult to block with one hand, and it's difficult to catch the ball with one hand, and it's difficult to hold on to the ball too. So I mean, those things are really significant.
There is good news in El Segundo, however. Bo Jackson is back in the Raiders' backfield now that his summer assignment with baseball's Kansas City Royals is over. Bo will boost the offense, but defensive back Mike Haynes says the 2-4 Raiders must stop the losing streak now.
Well, I think the attitude has to be that we have to have this game. We got to win this game. You know, it's going to be really tough because we do have some guys out of the lineup, but it's a game that we absolutely must have.
So the Raiders must find a way to overcome their health problems, but after all, Bo is okay, isn't he?
I heard he had a sore back, but he doesn't, so
okay,
that's a plus.
In El Segundo, this is Tony Hernandez, Channel 2 Action News.
Dodgers are out in the third now, 6-0 LA going to the top of the third inning. Unhappy and happy puppies, meantime, in the NBA, Dale Ellis of the Sonics signs a 6-year contract at about $1 million a year, but his former teammate in Dallas, Mark Aguirre, is hinting he'll walk out of the Mavericks camp because he's unhappy with his deal. He's making $715,000 in this, the 6th year of his 12-year contract. This is what you get for signing a 12-year contract for anything, Mark. And from Chicago, wait just a moment. I understand we're going live to Dodger Stadium for a late development. Action in the Met bullpen. Looks like the right-hander Dukakis warming up for New York. He's got a fine assortment of pitches, Al, but he's had his problems down the stretch, and I'm surprised to see him warming up so soon. You think that's bad? Who did George Bush root for tonight? He and Ron Darling both went to Yale, where the teams are called the Bulldogs, just like Orel Hershiser is. That's it, 6-0 right now.
Okay,
Great.
We'll be back in just a moment.
Books cost too much. Cross the Great Divide with Studs Terkel and meet the diverse people of America. If you paid full price, you didn't buy it at Crown Books.
George Bush is complaining about Boston Harbor, but Bush's administration cut funds to clean up Boston Harbor. Bush's administration cut funds to clean up our coast. From San Francisco to Southern California, again and again, beaches have been closed. Bush opposed a crackdown on corporations releasing toxic waste. Bush favored a veto of the Clean Water Act, not once, but twice. The Nonpartisan League of Conservation Voters has endorsed Mike Dukakis. So when you hear George Bush talk about the environment, remember what he did to the environment.
If you went to medical school, you'll probably love Proposition 99. But if you didn't, make sure you don't get fooled. You see, 99 directs that hundreds of millions of our tax dollars will end up in the hands of doctors in the medical industry. And guess what? They sponsored Prop 99. Prop 99 is simply a smokescreen. It raises taxes and doctors get richer. Vote no on Proposition 99. Doctors are already rich enough.
Vote no on Proposition 99.
4 days in the life of Pete Wilson. Pete Wilson voted against a bill to help victims of toxic waste. Wilson voted against a bill to remove dangerous asbestos from our schools. Wilson voted against a crackdown on corporations releasing cancer-causing chemicals. Wilson reports collecting over $145,000 in campaign money from the PACs of corporate polluters. Pete Wilson's 6-year record on the environment is one of the worst in the Senate. The League of Conservation Voters has endorsed Leo McCarthy, a senator for us.
Now, when you buy a pair of prescription lenses at our regular price, you can get something fashionable to keep them in at a sale price. The optical department at Montgomery Ward.
Shop early for those special gifts at the Junior League's annual Christmas Company, October 25th through the 27th. Call 714-720-7477.
And now a report from Patty Ecker on a new effort that was announced today to show disadvantaged youngsters that their futures don't have to include poverty or violence.
The statistics are frightening. 1 of every 2 black children lives in poverty. 40% of black teenagers are functional illiterates. Only 25% are covered by medical insurance.
I'm angry in general about the treatment of black children in 1988.
And that's why Evelyn Moore and the National Black Child Development Institute are launching a nationwide campaign to rescue those children. It's called Each One, Reach One, aimed at recruiting middle-class volunteers who will connect with disadvantaged children and provide one-on-one contact that the kids ordinarily wouldn't have.
We have moved to the suburbs as we become more affluent. So our inner cities, we don't live next door to each other. Children don't have doctors and lawyers and school teachers as next-door neighbors anymore. So that there is a disconnectedness in the black community in terms of the affluent and the poor.
The national program is just beginning. However, locally at 102nd Street Elementary School, a similar effort is a year old. The goal? To reach out one-on-one to children and offer them guidance toward coping skills, self-esteem, techniques that will improve the quality of their lives. The program here is called SCAMO, Showing Caring About Myself and Others. Children, like Dante and Calvin, meet with a counselor and learn to deal with negative problems in positive ways.
I don't fight with my friends on my block no more. Makes me feel good.
The SCAMO approach is teaching inner city youngsters that they won't just survive, they will excel.
And you're supposed to remember to bring your homework to school so you can get an education and go to college or to high school. Don't go on the street with gangbangers.
Very good.
About 50 children are involved in the program here at 102nd Street Elementary School. If the new program, called Each One, Reach One, works, thousands of children all over the country will be the winners. Patty Ecker, Channel 2 Action News.
And that's it from here. Thank you for joining us. Good night.